Hi and welcome back to another video. In this video we will be talking about settings. What is the best settings that you need to remember when playing Supervive, and what is some niche tricks that can help you along the ride. First, when we get to the game section, the first thing you want to be thinking about is movement. Now, there's multiple options with movement here. You have Vast Enhance with Cursor, Vast Fallback to Cursor, and Cursor. Now, I choose Vast with Enhance to Cursor. The reason why is that I like to be able to dash backwards. I also need to have my dash. I like to be able to dash backwards while attacking without having to think about needing every time to dash that I need to hold in that direction. So this means that you can input the, for example, if you're going downwards, the S key to dash backwards while attacking in the front. This helps a lot for combat in general, but also movement. But this also means that there is a smart indicator, which means that it will sometimes impact where the cursor is at, so it's not 100% one direction, but you can also go diagonally. On the next section, we have aiming. Aiming is talking about the laser here. All of this I would recommend to have on show aiming laser, limit aiming laser to cursor, and show character ground circles. So the first one is showing this green laser. This also, when you have the second one on, shows the range. So for example, this is my LMB, but then if I stretch it out, it will only show the green circle of my maximum range. So this time, when you have this on, you will know exactly how far you can shoot with KP. This will also help with other range characters to know exactly what is your limit to range. And then the last one is to be able to see the circle. This helps indicate where you hit and where you are. Depending on if you're meeting an enemy, I can easily know the range and how easily it is for enemies to hit me, but as well it's how you can hit enemies. When we get into keybinds, there is more options. Now, there is no this is the best keybinds to have in the game, but I have some few recommendations. Number one, when you start the game, jump and glide will both be defaulted to spacebar. My number one recommendation is rebinding your glide to a different button. Now, it doesn't have to be V. I do enjoy V because I have, for example, my powers on Q and C. Now, ability 2 will normally be on Q, so that's a bit weird. I prefer to have my second ability on E, then I have my powers on Q and C. So for example, my favorite combo, like one of my favorite combos is we can have grapple hook, and to be able to engage, I will always switch it to the C spot, which makes it so if I want to be using combos, I want to be using C first and then follow up with E. It's easy buttons for me to use. Then the next thing is the glider thing. The glider is also really important to switch. Doesn't matter what you do, if you want like your mouse buttons or you want a different keybind, this is just what I prefer to do. So in my setup, I have my abilities on LMB, RMB, Shift, E and R, that is my preference, and then I have my powers on Q and C. And then glider I have on V. That means I can hold my thumb on my spacebar, but then easily press V when I want to glide. So I have to actively press the button and not accidentally hit it with spacebar when you do jump a lot, because jump is good. And then I also have my interact on F. Now, all of these are, again, what you want to do. Another good thing to maybe think about is how you do for leveling up. On the base setup, it is on the left alt. I have left control because I do like to use my side on the little finger here to press EC down and then level up with my abilities and also for the equipment. I come from League and that's why I think controller is easier. Again, I would recommend everybody to take some time to check out the keybinds in general. Next thing I will talk about audio. One of the things I recommend for audio is one, having so sound VFX is loud enough so you can hear other people's abilities. This is also really important for noticing things in the distance, knowing where teams are. Another thing I recommend is ping volume. Pings are great to communicate with your team if you're playing solo, so making sure that you can hear the pings and know where they are, very important. I do also recommend having announcer on a preferable setting. Now this is of course like set up for my AFK thing there happening. I do recommend having announcer also semi-loud, because the announcer will give you shout outs of what is happening to other teams and other things that are spawning. So I do recommend making sure that sound VFX, announcer and ping volume is to a certain high volume that you can notice them fairly easy. The next thing, we get into camera. The number one tip I have for the camera is using fully dynamic. On standard, you'll be on locked camera. This is everything you can see. I'm moving my mouse around and I can't really see anything. Very bad, super bad. Get out of the way immediately. The second thing you'll have is standard dynamic. This is also nice, you can see a lot more in general, but I do recommend fully dynamic because it's easier to move around for quick movements. It might feel a little bit weird in the start, but this is the best way to be able to quickly move around and view what is around you. The maximum length to see up and down, left and right is not that much, but being able to see more up and down is super crucial. So I highly recommend everybody to use fully dynamic camera preset. Another thing, I also recommend have glide zoom out. This makes it so when you glide, you see more out. It will actively zoom out, so you see more around you. Gliding is very dangerous, so having more vision around I think is very, very helpful. And then lastly, we get to UI. What I recommend for UI is testing out. There is no, this is the greatest thing, but what is very cool about UI is that you can add a lot of options to your cursor. So you see, for example, I have two buttons on my side here, below and over. So for example, when I dash, I can see on my mouse how many dash charges I have. This can be preset to anything that you would like. If you want more options on your ultimate, your R&B, your LMB, your secondary ability, all of this you can preset for what you like for your hunter. This means that, okay, if you have one setting and you switch to a new hunter, the same settings will be on that hunter, but I recommend finding what abilities do you want to see the most. I definitely recommend having your shifts on your mouse to be able to see how often you have shift ability. This helps a lot, but test this around. This is a setting that not many people know about, so I definitely recommend testing this out. Another thing that I do recommend is always show detailed ability tooltips. So when you hold over your abilities, you will not only just get your explanation, but also the explanation for your upgrades on each level. This is very, very helpful. And then lastly, you have a lot of stats. Remember, at the bottom of the UI, if you would like to see client FPS, if you want GPU time, server FPS, etc, 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 this is great for your preference depending on what kind of stats that you want to see from your PC. Now, I hope you enjoyed this video. This is all about helping you understand what kind of settings are available in Supervive. Hopefully this will help you win more games and utilize more of the effects, and then I'll catch you guys in the next video.